Hi everyone, so I'm Cody DeCavalcante. This is going to be a session where I just, say whatever's on my mind, and hopefully we can all enjoy this, and, well, here we go.
Yo, could I get a cold beverage? I need some leverage. A sweaty ass as a lemonade would be nice of us right from the top to
Right now, this is where I sleep, or rather where I scare easily. My father died when I was 16. I remember that moment very well. I can remember his last words being very heart-wrenching, almost poetic. And then I realized that was the first moment where I'd start referring to everything as almost poetic. Whenever I'm in a school or a building or some sort, and you go into the bathrooms and you see the little cracks in the stalls, I think that someday, somewhere, some way behind closed doors, there is a janitor that comes in there and takes jumbo-sized industrial floss and just works away. The day that a song called Cloudy Days Shining Down on Me becomes a hit song will legitimately be the first day of Opposite Day. Sometimes I'll be taking a shower, and I'm in there for 1-2 minutes. And then I notice that the water starts to rise, and it's because of something like this. You know that piece of soap that you use on your body, and then it just gets shorter and shorter and smaller, and then it just turns into that little, thick, thin piece of soap, just smaller than paper, and it if you put it on your arm, it instantly breaks into pieces. And that's just clogging the drain, and you don't want to pick it up because you don't want to use it. I remember one time I was so glued to the television screen that my nanny had to actually come with a spatula and scrape my head off the screen. That night at dinner, we were all eating dinner there, and we were eating hamburgers. And I remember that everything was really chalky. And a week later, I was in the hospital with chunks of the hamburger stuck to my stomach lining. I remember I was dating this girl. She was obsessed with rhyming. I mean, everything was a rhyme. One time we go over to her family's house, and I'm just sitting there, and they all start rhyming. And they rhyme off the word house, even the family dog. And we're going around the table, and I say layouse. Not even good enough. I'm sitting there quiet the whole time, and then all of a sudden they're all quiet. And we never talked again. Rhyming can be humiliating. I saw a guy one time on the street, and he was a homeless guy, and I saw someone on the street, just go and buy him a meal at a McDonald's. And I said, you know what? I am going to return the favor. I am going to return the favor. So I went into that McDonald's, and when I came back out, I came out with a napkin and a fork, and I handed it to him, and I say, sir, have a good meal. I was going through med school for a couple years, and, I was doing that for a little bit, and it was a lonely time. Very lonely time for me. Very lonely, and I couldn't really get a date. I was always so busy. But one night I said, screw it. Screw this test. Screw these books. And this was a little bit before I dropped out. But I said, I'm not doing this. So one night before anyone's in the classroom, I go in there, and I take a peek, and I see a woman. And we go back to my house, and I notice that she's not eating her food. And she actually is one of those skeleton models that you find in the classroom. She was very anorexic. She had a problem. We never went out on a date again. Whenever I go to a CVS or Walgreens or Barnes & Noble and I'm checking out and stuff, and the person's like, that'll be $24.65, and I go, oh, it is? Okay, this is all to go, don't you? Sometimes I think I can hear Mufasa telling stories to his grandchildren in a cave down by the water. You see, if the Department of Defense would have ended up in my hands, if I would have been the controller and the mastermind behind that, most likely a lot of strategic planning behind wars would have been used with shish kebabs and pork rinds. You got a lot going on when you go to the park and you can't even open up the bread and give pieces of it to the geese, and you have to just leave it in the plastic container and just throw it into the lake. I was born off the coast of Antarctica, so one day I had the opportunity to go to the States, and so I went over to the United States of America, and I'm in America, all right? And this family brings me in, and it happens to fall a week before Christmas. Once Christmas comes around, I was so confused. Well, first off, I didn't know how to use the internet, so I couldn't check it out, and none of my friends would tell me who he was because I didn't have any. And so I had to figure this whole Santa thing out by myself. And what it was is the family wanted me that year. They gave me the privilege to be Santa and be the guy that puts all the kids on the lap and whatever and everything like that. So one day I'm looking through their closet and I find a bunch of sex toys, not to mention a Darth Vader suit in the closet. I pull that out and I put it on and I go downstairs and there's little Ronnie, their son, and I go, "Oh, ho, ho, Ronnie, how are you doing today?" And he goes, "Good." And I'm just like, "What do you want for Christmas?" And they had told me to say that, the night before I was preparing. I was like, all right, and just keep saying that. I had never severely confused a child more in my life. Have you ever considered the fact you look like an elongated breath mint? I wonder what it'd be like if Voldemort was in the Pussycat Dolls. Being a cop can be kind of shitty. I remember I had a situation where I went into the Gap, and I went into the fitting rooms because I was trying to crack a case. And all of a sudden, in the back, I see a sweatshop, and these kids are working illegally. And the air conditioner's turned down, and it's not even on at all. And the kids are using a thread and needle with their nose. Oh my god, I'd never seen so many personal horrors. I used to go crazy with the gift giving in elementary school. I had this plan, I just had this plan, And so, here's the thing. My teacher, I would go up to her, and other kids, they bring the apple. But I went the extra step. I brought a sharp knife, and I started cutting away, and I cut it into slices. I go, "Miss, you may do with what you please with that, but I hope that you choose to eat it now." And she'd eat, and then she'd pass around a few for us, and I'd be like, "Hell yeah, anytime I'm not learning is the best kind of learning." Some turd nugget came into my house last night and asked me if he could use my breathing mechanism. I said, "Shit, get out of here, dude, I got asthma." I once tried drawing the United States of America on a piece of blank paper. It ended up looking like Black Forest ham and a couple triple-digit weather. One time, I was late for church, and I was running. I was running as fast as I could. I was 19 years old. I had golden legs for running. And so I'm running and everything, and I go in there, and I see the first seat that I can see. And I'm sitting there for 5 minutes, and then the priest is looking at me, and I notice that I'm sitting at the priest's seat, and I had gone in the back end of the church. I sat at a table with a bunch of middle-aged white guys one time. Then after that, I headed to the barbecue. You ever hear the shit that guy says down there? He says a bunch of weird shit. I've never seen some guy like that before. I never seen him before. You know what he does down there. You know exactly what he does. He lives in the basement. He eats sand. He doesn't really give a crap about what he says to people. He's never sorry. He never apologizes. He just is down there all the time. He eats cup loads of fur. I never even seen the dude walk outside without a coat on. The guy doesn't even know what time winter is. I mean, what does he do all day? He's a damn meteorologist.
"I'm sorry to inform you, but you just left 2 shits on my porch."
I used to cry a lot when I told rumors. I grew up at a bread factory, and we even started our own minor league football team, and we were called the Breadinators. And we used to toss long pieces of wheat bread all the way down the field. We got them at the 10, the 20, the 30. Oh my God, touchdown! We're gonna have some baked goods tonight.